Hey Vu, what do you call things that don't work well?
I don't know, I forgot.
Hey Vu, what do you call things that don't work well?
Dysfunctional.
And what do you call people that don't work well?
I don't know.
Puzzle fighters.
Guys, welcome back to another week of BSL Gutter Talk. Today we have my co-host, Ta, and we're going to be going over this week's ups, downs, all around. So, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, you may know me. I am Hieu. I am one of the board members of BSL. I've been part of the league every season since its inception. And I am one of the Shadow Bowling Crew.
Shadow Bowling Crew. All right, that's a pretty big resume you have there. This is the first time ever that we had somebody of importance on the show. You know, we've never really heard of the committee. I know people know that there's the guys that run in the back end of it, but it's really nice to see you on the show and to kind of dive deeper into what this league is all about.
Yeah, you're gonna hear a lot more about it in the next segments, but it's great to be here.
All right, so as always, we're gonna start off with Strike Squad.
All right, leading off the bottom of the Strike Squad, we got a very surprising entrant, Van Nguyen, coming in with a 666, making his way out of the cellar.
He's been in the cellar like 3 times now, no?
He built the place.
He built the place, yeah.
He's been decorating it.
Dude, he's been in the cellar for so long, the score that he needed to get out was the devil's number.
Yeah.
He might be the man himself.
Yeah.
Rounding off that list, we got Kat at number 4, going to 669. Again, she's no stranger to being on the top, and I mean, it's nice to see her back. You want to finish off the list?
Yeah, we got Shelby coming in at 3rd place with a 678. Pretty impressive. Nothing surprising there. He's been one of the top raw bowlers, so usually with that type of talent, you expect to see them show up at least once or twice in the top 5 throughout the season.
Yeah, we call those guys the 4th Street bowlers. Those guys are the 4th Street crew. You know, they came in like gangs of New York, thinking they were gonna take over, you know, Bolero. They did get humbled real quick, but it's nice to see that Shelby is adjusting to the lanes, and he's being up there in the top, which I know he's a really high scoring bowler. But yeah.
I agree. Next, we have Tin, one of our rookies for this year, coming in with a 688. Congrats to him. Did you happen to catch any of his performance?
I didn't. I did talk to him beforehand, and I know that he wasn't really feeling too hot coming into this league in the beginning, but it's nice to kind of see that he did get his stride, getting a little bit more comfortable, and then it shows because he's like, you know, number 2 on the top 5. So yeah, he keeps bowling like that. We're gonna get really familiar with this newcomer.
Yeah, big part of Shy Guys making their way to another win.
Yeah, and there's 2 of them from Shy Guys on this team, and that's what they really need to kind of like push themselves over, because they have the 5th man, like we always say. They got the invisible 5th man, and now it looks like they don't even need the 5th man with these numbers, you know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, so coming in at number 1, I think this guy has purchased the most sand. He is number 1 at Lowe's. I do see his face on the you know, customer of the month. It is Andrew with the 732 from the Red Suns.
Very impressive score. You know, 700s anytime you can get there. You're going to be a big help to your team. So great job to him. And same thing, also a rookie this year. So it's always nice to see them perform well.
Yeah, I mean, welcome to the 700 crew. There's a lot of bowlers that are within that caliber. I'm not one of them. But yeah, this guy's being way too nice to the newcomers. All you sandbaggers need to, you know, dude, I don't know what's going on with these guys. They all must be shopping together.
Yeah, buying in bulk.
I'm about to leave the league, change my name, come back as a newcomer, and sandbag the shit out of it.
Hey, all you gotta do is take a year off, or just bowl 2 really bad seasons like somebody.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's what I'm doing this year. Who knows?
Could be.
Oh, I don't know. And yeah, but I mean, all of these guys, they bowled really well this week, and we like to congratulate them. But just like everything else, if we congratulate you, we also want to shit on the shitters. So here's the bottom 5. Welcome to the cellar.
All right, starting off with the bottom of the bottom 5, we have Steven. He has arguably the best post for the Cellar squad this week, with his pants down.
Yeah.
He really did get caught with his pants down.
He got caught with his pants. I'm surprised that they didn't do any photos of him without his hands after he got crushed by Isaac. So I think he should have like 2 fingers in there next time. But yeah, I mean, it seems that X-Men is rotating out of the top 5 to the bottom 5. So it's either one or the other that's in there. And Steven just, I guess, didn't play his best. But
you got to be consistent.
yeah. There's another name on here, and it is Steven, but it's the PH Steven, the fancier Steven as we call it,
yeah.
the ones with the pinky up.
Mr. Urkel.
Urkel, yeah.
There is no Steve here. I'm Stefan, sweet thing.
Except he was not Steven Urkel this week. He was, well, he was just garbage.
Yeah, he was with the 550. He lands himself in the bottom 5. We went up against them this week. We took game 1, and I noticed that his scores were slacking a little bit, and I was, inside I was happy. I was like, oh heck yeah, I was clapping for those low scores, but I know that he's capable of much more. So the dynamic duo, you got him, you got Hieu, and then the sandbagger Andrew that they both kind of trained. So that's a really tough team to beat. Surprising that he's in there, but
yeah, and somehow they still came away with the wins.
Yeah, welcome to the cellar, Steven.
All right, next we have Sang, who comes in at 3rd on the bottom 5, but it comes with a little bit of an asterisk. You want to explain?
Yeah, so he does have an injury, and it is a tie, but he does have a knee injury. So he was telling me he was bowling really, really horribly. It did show up last week as well. So I don't know if this is going to be a reoccurring thing for him to be in the bottom. This is maybe just not his year. I've seen him bowl when we did practice games before league started, and I know he's a really, really strong bowler. That's actually one of the reasons I think Tom drafted him, because she lost a pair of shoes to him because she was betting him. And this guy bowled like a 180, so
okay.
I think he did the opposite of a sandbag. It's he peacocked it.
Okay.
Yeah,
he showed more than, or he showed everything he had.
Yeah.
And then now, unfortunately, he's unable to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, reverse sandbag. We're gonna call it a peacock. That is the new term officially.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. I was actually playing against him, and he was just hobbling his way down to the lanes. We actually had a bet that game, but I did not choose to collect because it just didn't seem right. So hope
man,
you feel
nice
better.
guy,
Yeah.
nice guy. I think this guy's way too nice to be on the podcast.
Oh, don't worry. I'll dish it out later.
All right, coming up in number 2, it's going to be me again. I actually tied him for a 545. I don't think that my injury is completely healed. First 2 games, I bowled better. Game 1 was good. Game 2, it was like going downhill. Game 3 was just, I guess I ran out of gas. My arm was starting to hurt game 3. So what I think I'm going to do is tomorrow I'm actually going to try to bowl with a 12-pound, see if I can get that stamina to finish all 3 games. If it's not something I can do, I think what the strategy is just ball the hell out in game 1, do what I can game 2, and just flop game 3. I got to bowl a 200 game 1, that's it.
Or, a little bit more beer never hurts.
He's a medical professional, so you guys hear that. More beer fixes it.
That's true.
Got it. All right, number 1, the worst bowler of the week. Oh man, this guy. Dylan, I remember that guy. He came in hot. Now, not so hot.
Not so hot. He was definitely struggling. He was the anchor for their team, but he was just
He sank him.
Yeah.
He took the definition literally. You are not supposed to sink your team.
Yeah.
If anything, he should have been the opposite. He was supposed to uplift them.
Yeah.
Isn't this guy part of 4th Street Gang?
Supposedly, he's
Yeah,
one of the rookies.
the gangs of 4th Street.
High expectations, but yeah, just did not deliver this week.
Yeah, I think the pressure is getting to him. He was saying that, you know, Bolero is a different beast, and I think it's showing its ugly head. You know, he he thought he had it, but apparently he comes in at the very bottom of the top 5. So all of you guys in the top 5, congratulations. All you guys in the bottom, you guys suck. Get better, all right? No excuses. Besides for me, because I'm injured, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all right, it's okay. I'm a medical professional. All right, and with that, we have a, wait, what is that? Breaking news. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.
Well, we just found out that for the remainder of the season, Christina Lamb is going to be unable to play due to an injury. So with that said, we have a very unique circumstance where Vin Lee is going to be coming in to GTA and taking over her spot for the rest of the season.
So some would say that he's creating a grand theft and he just took that spot.
Oh, dicey.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is going to be a really, really tough situation because we have somebody like Christina who bowls a little bit lower on the lower end, and then we have a guy that bowls 15 games as a warm-up. How do you think that dynamic's going to play out for GTA?
I think it'll work out. Vin is obviously one of the people who's very dedicated to the league. He shows up, he's always there, even though he's been sitting on the sidelines the entire season. He has not missed a single week.
That is true.
He's had better attendance than some of the people who are still in the league right now.
I agree, yeah. Because I made a joke. I was like, hey, I thought you said you couldn't be here, and boom, he's there every time.
Yep.
You're on the board of directors. How is this going to kind of play into the handicap? How's it going to kind of play out into the end of the season? What is this going to look like for GTA and the rest of the league? Can you touch base on that?
Yeah, definitely. So this is the first time that we've ever had a season-ending injury. In the past, there's always been someone who's been out for a week or two, but we've always been able to work around it, and that's why some of the league rules are in place. But this one was a very unique circumstance. It actually took a lot of deliberation from the board, and we decided that this was the best route to take. I think it's going to be a great thing for the league, and especially for GTA. They're getting someone who's very dedicated, who is enthusiastic about coming every week.
Yeah.
He's obviously got the talent, the speed, the power. In terms of fairness, it should be just fine. We do handicap things to a level where all the bowlers will be more or less around the same output every week.
Okay.
But really, at the end of the day, it's up to him to show up and do better than his average to contribute to the team.
Yeah, okay. So things are going to be adjusted to make sure that, you know, you're not taking Christina's average and then throwing in a guy that's like on steroids.
Right.
The league is fair, guys. The craziest part is now you're going to have a team with 3 like high scoring bowlers. I mean, Darren is capable of also scoring very high. If they can all link up, that would be a very, very dangerous team to play up against. How do you think that's going to fare out? Do you think it's going to be, you know, with such a high bowling team, is that going to hurt them?
Well, it means everybody has to show up every week. When you have people who are consistently high bowlers, they have to meet that average.
Yeah.
They can't have a game where you're in a slump. So when you have raw bowlers like Johnny, like Jimmy, and like Vin, and even potentially Darren, you can't have a game where you're just not closing out frames. You gotta show up.
Yep.
So you can imagine their handicap is gonna be quite low.
Yeah.
And really, it's gonna come down to their ability to inflict kind of moral damage onto the other team. Obviously, even with a handicap league, if you're just knocking down strikes every frame, it really gets into the mind of the other team. So if they can do that, they have a good chance of winning. Yeah,
especially if they have the vibes. Like we say it every time, vibes win. If they're able to link up those strikes, especially the way Jimmy's been playing, it can, you know, possibly rub off on Vin. Vin rubs off on, you know, Johnny. Johnny rubs off on, you know, Darren, and then we got Red Suns all over again, just fucking rubbing off on everybody, you know? And that would be a very dangerous team, and I can see them like doing well in playoffs if they can link up, if they can hit their averages. But everything is, like you said, an if.
It's a big if.
It's a big if, yep.
So it'll be exciting to see what happens in the coming weeks.
Yeah, it will be. All right, and with all that talk about playoff contention and scores and everything like that, let's talk a little bit about Red Suns. They've been undefeated lately, huh?
Dude, they've been hot. What can you say? Even with having a person in the cellar this week, they still managed to get a win. Going undefeated, especially this far into the season, is pretty difficult to do.
Yeah. Their record is what is it? 4-0.
4-0.
Currently 4-0. It's a very, very nice place to be, but it's pretty cool the way that the point system works. Is even though they're the only undefeated team in the league, StarCraft is currently number 1.
Yeah, I mean, StarCraft has been doing great with their sweeps. The point system is definitely the way that we determine playoff ranking, whether you make it or not, and then your record is actually secondary. But the way they've been playing, I think they shouldn't have too many concerns if they keep up this level of performance. Yeah,
I mean, they got some really, really big sandbags on there, Andrew. But I mean, if we go on and we can talk about the playoffs, it's a really crazy dynamic, because even though it's halfway through the season and a lot of teams are, mid-tier, there still could be a huge shift in the league as far as who's number 1, who's number 2, and making it to playoffs. Just because a team's number 1 now doesn't mean they're gonna win the playoffs, doesn't mean they're gonna win the championship, because a team like that's further down the bottom, there's a lot of things that can happen, and they can actually take the win. So don't count anybody out. Do you want to kind of go over the team's rankings, and then we'll just talk about the top teams that are right now in playoff contention?
Yeah, for sure. So the teams with the great records, StarCraft and Suns, sitting at 21 and 20 respectively. They have a decent gap where they can be comfortable for a little bit.
Yeah.
Obviously, still need to focus on wins the rest of the season. But the next bunching of teams is really where things get interesting. So we have 4 teams that are in playoff contention right now: 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th place, all separated by 1 point. So we have 17 for Shy Guys, and then Shadow, Onyx, and X-Men all at 16. So over the next week, this week in particular, week 5 is going to be very pivotal to see where kind of the teams break away from the gap.
Yeah, because I mean, any of these teams can kind of sweep and then take that top spot. We don't know what's going to happen. StarCraft can have a really, really bad week, get really low scores. Shadow, Onyx, Shy Guys all of them could sweep. There's a lot that can happen. As far as the lower teams go, Alliance, what's the other team? Puzzle Fighters,
yep.
And whatnot. There still is a chance to kind of be in the middle to get to playoff contention, so everybody still has a shot. So don't count yourself out. These are really the teams that are just kind of the closest, and it's going to be crazy to see how it plays out in the weeks coming. How many weeks left do we have?
We have 3. So there's 7 weeks of regular season, and then you have 2 weeks of the postseason and the finals. So
okay,
it's, quite a bit.
Yeah, and I know. Does the number 1 spot still get the bye week?
Yes, I think it's top 2 that get the bye. And for the teams that are currently sitting in the lower spots right now, like you said, they're not mathematically out of contention yet. So the sense of urgency really should be upon them this week to try and get a sweep, and they might just have a chance.
Yeah, I think that we need to get the broom out, and those bottom teams are gonna definitely need to broom them up.
Yeah, broom sales were weak last week, and there was no sweeps, so they're discounted this week.
Yeah. All right, let's go get some. I'm gonna buy a bunch of them. We said there's 3 weeks left. I'm gonna buy 3 brooms.
Let's show.
Sweep away all your worries with a broom shakalaka.
All right, so it's not very often we get a board member to sit down with us on the actual podcast. We're gonna go into a segment I like to call Secret Life of a Board Member.
The board, we usually try to operate in the shadows. We're really there to just ensure that things run smoothly. We take care of all the administrative things, like ensuring that the league is set up on Wednesdays. We collect the fees, not only for the bowling alley, but for the prizes, for funding the party, for, the trophies and things of that nature. But there's also a lot of other things that happen behind the scenes. And the current board members for this season are Van, who's the founders, one of the founders of the league. Lee, his brother, who is the previous commissioner.
All right.
And then we have Tony Lee, the current commissioner. Myself included. I am the chief penalty officer.
Okay.
So a lot of things that come down to rules and enforcement will be handled by me. We also have Tuan, who's not bowling with us this season, but he's been an integral kind of member of the board and providing us, opinions and perspective. And we also have Jimmy Tran as well.
Okay.
So that rounds out the board.
You forgot about Brian?
We also have B, who's even more in the shadows, but he's there to offer his experience and all the other things that he provides, especially with media and things of that nature.
Yeah, the meme lord.
Yes.
Yeah, he is very fast on that, very fast.
You have to be.
Yeah.
The way that the chat moves, you got to be quick with it.
You guys are amazing. Something can happen like it didn't even happen yet, and you got a meme for it already. It's pretty crazy. As far as being a board member, what are some of the fun facts that we as bowlers don't really know about that goes into like league days and things like that? Like, what's some fun facts that you want to shoot out at us?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do as a board is we decide the theme for each season. So as you all know, this season's theme is the video games, arcades, but we've had a different theme for every season that the league has been around. And only the second season, which was the Game of Thrones theme, where we actually didn't have drafts. So all of the team members were assigned based on their location. So we had different houses, House Warfield, House Skyport, House Brentwood.
Okay.
And so all the members were based off of their geographic location. So that was the only season where things were kind of different.
Oh, that's interesting. So you were kind of like already drafted depending on where you live. Were there any members that tried to move during that season?
There's a little bit of gerrymandering, trying to get people to be shuffled into a different house.
Yeah.
But, we kept it.
Sometimes people try to go to different schools. They'll use their sister's address and things like that. Did that happen?
Yeah, they tried, but we made it work.
All right.
Third season was the only season we've had so far that was a two-part season.
Oh, okay.
So it was a very popular year. It was also the year that the league expanded. So we went from having 4 players on a team to 5 players on a team.
Okay, yeah.
And that was the World Cup year. So the very first part of the season, we had we had Germany take the very first part of the season. And because it was such a fun season, people wanted to come back and do another part.
Yep.
So we did part 2, and that was when Japan took the second part of the season.
Yeah, I mean, this league isn't like the other leagues that you see at Bolero where, they kind of just go there and bowl and you don't see all that hype. A lot of people ask like, dude, how do I get into the league? How are you guys so hyped? Things like that. It's like, yo, it's invite only, you got to be part of the cool kids. But yeah. One of the things that I've always wondered was like, how did this league actually come to be? Because I'm sure like you guys didn't just come up one day and was just like, hey, we're going to create this league. Share us the thoughts of the very start of BSL. Like, what was it like?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was first kind of discovered that Bolero had this summer pass.
Okay.
Great deal. You could bowl 3 games a day. You pay 1 fee at the beginning of summer. So we were really just a group of friends trying to take advantage of the fact that we could go have fun for a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
And then it was actually Van's idea to kind of form the league. And it's like, hey, if we're going to come out and we're going to do this all the time, let's structure it and make it competitive. And since then, it's grown almost every year to what it is now, with the addition of media, the podcast, the rankings, the seller, like all of that.
Merch,
you name it. And really the most impressive part about all this is we have stats going all the way back to the very first
It is insane if you look at the stat sheet. Like the people that are behind all that, if you look at it, it's so legit. And it's updated like instantly almost. Like I can go home the next day, wake up, feel horrible about myself. I wonder if I'm on the bottom 5. And sure enough, there's my name. Like that's how quick it is. It's insane. Instant gratification almost.
Yeah, you really don't even care about being in the top 5. You just want to avoid the bottom. And
exactly.
You see your name in there, it's devastating. And if you just make the cut by 1, it's the most amazing feeling.
I just want to coast right there in the middle, just chill, Maybe this is what I'll do this year. Sorry, Alliance, but maybe I should just lower my handicap this year. This should be my handicap lowering year. Just kidding, guys. I'm always going to try my best. But yeah, that's very interesting facts about BSL and how it came to be and things like that. And so now you guys know, a little history on how this thing started, why you guys get to have fun every Wednesday, and the people behind getting all the fun. And yeah. All right, a little bit of history. Now we're gonna go into the future with upcoming games. The first game that we're gonna talk about is gonna be X-Men versus GTA SA San Andreas, with X-Men getting 61 points. Who do you think is gonna take this one?
This week is going to be a really interesting one because it's the introduction of Vin. 61 points is no small number.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think with a new kind of teammate in the mix, it'll be a breath of fresh air. And this week, I think I'm going to give it to GTA.
You know, that's where I'm actually gonna go reverse from you, because I do know that Johnny and Jimmy are out this week. 2 people are out. Is that 20%?
10 plus 10, yeah.
That's 20%. Oh man, it's like they got a 5th man on X-Men with that 61 and 20%. Oh, if X-Men doesn't win that one, like, you know, Darren is lucky that Vin actually got in this week, because if not, he'd be bowling by himself. Can you imagine the vibes on that game?
That'd be horrendous.
That would be, can you imagine a big dude like Isaac just screaming in your face and you're just by yourself? Like, I need an adult, I need an adult.
Yeah, well, they got a pretty big one. With Vin coming in there and throwing like 20 mile per hour balls, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, oh man, he's got his bodyguard for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to X-Men on that one. Do you take your vote back, or do you think X-Men? You think GTA is still gonna take it?
GTA on this one.
All right, a little bit of Grand Theft Auto. He's gonna ride in a stolen vehicle. All right, so the next one's gonna be Shy Guys versus Ball is Life, with Shy Guys with the 5th man getting that 94.
All right, with this one, I know that, you know, Van had a good week coming out of the cellar, but I think, you know, Ball is Life is starting to get into a rhythm. They're not quite there yet, but if they were able to carry any momentum forward, this would be the week to do it. Of course, they've got some motivation. They are at the bottom. And this is the week. Week 5 is the week to try and, you know, keep your hopes of playoffs alive. And at the same time, the Shy Guys handicap is starting to fall.
Exactly, you know, just to touch base on this, because I know that we are a handicap league, and it's a rolling handicap. So a lot of the people that had really, really high handicaps, it's starting to kind of like level out now. So all those guys that are sandbagging, it's really catching up to them. So that's one of the main reasons why I love the rolling handicap, and it makes things really, really fair. But it also is very friendly to newcomers. So I think it's a really, really cool way that you guys have created this kind of way to do the statistics, do people's averages and things like that, and have it rolling. But yeah, back on the subject of Shy Guys versus Ball is Life, like you said, Ball is Life has the ability to do it. They have really, really strong players. They bowled 600 with 3 guys versus my team, so I know that they can kill it.
Yeah.
But against 94, that's still always going to be tough.
Yeah, having an extra 94 pins is never going to hurt.
Never. How do you think this one's going to play out?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Ball is Life. I think they just have a lot that they have to prove. And if anybody's going to do it, it's the guy who bowled 300 in the preseason. If he can get anywhere near that, they're going to have a great shot with him leading the team.
I don't know, with AI being such a huge thing now, and like with video edits, do you think that 300 was real?
Ooh,
because we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it on the lane.
That's true. If it wasn't done at Bolero, it probably wasn't legit.
Yeah, so I don't think that was sanctioned. It might be AI.
All right.
I'm just kidding, bro.
We're going to put an asterisk next to his 300. It wasn't in season anyway.
Yeah,
so
well, I mean, I'm going to go with you. I think Ball is Life is going to take it. Shout out to Shy Guys, because, you know, Van was in the top 5. They do get the 94 points, but I think Ball is Life has way more to gain from this. So I think they're hungrier, and the hungrier team usually is out for blood. So me and you are in agreement that Ball is Life's going to take it. All right, the next one up is going to be me versus you, Alliance versus Shadows, with Alliance getting 3. I don't know how that seems fair, because, you know, that 3, what is, well, you know, you guys have, what is your record right now, you guys?
We're 2-2.
2-2, it's a pretty good record. And I know Sandbagger Brian over here, he's been lowering his average for 2 years. I got the local scoop. I read his diary the other day. He was like, "Dear diary, it's working." But you guys are gonna be a scary team to go up against. But we also have, you know, Ado, which is a monster.
Yeah, he looked like he got pretty good scores last week.
He's killing it. And then we have Dan. All you gotta tell him is that Christina's doing better than him. Even if she's not in the league anymore, we whisper that, he's still gonna ball out. I think I am going to be the one that's gonna be the determining factor. If I can, you know, hit my average, then I think we got a chance, because I don't want to make you know, Ado and Dan and Tony fill in that void of me bowling a 75 again, you know?
Well, if I can do anything about it, I'll have all my friends book sessions with you Monday and Tuesday. Make sure your arm's extra tired, and we'll get them.
I'm going on vacation for 2 days until, you know, my arm gets
Shit,
better.
if I have to get a full back piece myself, I'll do it.
I'm gonna go get a 10-pound ball, so I make sure I have the stamina. So I'm gonna go for Alliance. I think Alliance is gonna take it.
We're obviously on different sides of the table on this one. But yeah, I am gonna stick with my team, Shadow. Not only does Ta believe in this, but I also believe in
You're
this.
not Ta?
In case
This
you
whole
didn't
time?
know,
No way.
we have 2 members of Shadow representing this week on the podcast.
AI is getting really, really good, guys. AI is getting really good. That's scary. All right. Following up that match is going to be Puzzle Fighters versus the Red Suns, with Puzzle Fighter getting 44.
I don't think there's much to say here.
There is not
We've
much to
got
say here.
A team that's undefeated against a team
That's
is
just defeated.
Yeah.
That's just defeated.
That's defeated.
Unless, you know, they pull through with the miracle. I know Ton was doing a little drunk betting last week on the chat. Maybe there's a fire. Maybe there's a fire lit now. Maybe Puzzle Fighters is coming in with an all you can. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, hopefully it's a fire underneath their butts and not like a Tinder fire. There was some talk of dating.
Oh, dating. Yeah, okay.
That league that's perhaps being formed and, you know, headed by Tony N.
Wow. Cupid's arrow may strike, huh? That's
Cupid's arrow.
Cupid's arrow. Here's Cupid.
That was an accident.
What's that calendar doing here? That's weird. I didn't see that before. I think Red Suns is gonna take it. Sorry, Puzzle Fighters. It just doesn't seem like you guys are bowling this year. Yeah. I don't.
Hands down, Red Suns.
Red Suns, yeah. I hate to say it. Sorry, Puzzle Fighters. I got some really good friends on that team.
Yeah.
But that's why I can say that, you know, they're not doing well at all. You guys need to do something. Bowl. You guys need to bowl. I don't know what they're showing up for.
Yeah.
All right, so next after that is going to be StarCraft versus Onyx, with StarCraft getting 6.
You know,
that is going to be a tough match.
It's really hard to bet against the primarily Gorillas team of last season.
Yeah, I mean it is just Gorillas with their what is that, cheerleader?
Yeah, I mean, you gotta say, most people I think probably had the same question this year: is were they gonna be as successful without Amy Tran at the helm? But you know, you gotta give it to the commissioner. He's having a hell of a season. I think he's been showing up every week and throwing up pretty big numbers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm gonna give it to Onyx this week.
You know, Carson, that sandbagger, that guy. Who the fuck is that guy, Carson? We've seen him in the top. He's not on the top this week. I think Talking Smack got to him and he was like, you know what? I gotta do a little less so they don't suspect me.
Yeah.
I feel that if StarCraft can get the vibes over Onyx, StarCraft can take it. It's just scary when you hear 3 gorillas screaming when they're doing well. It's kind of,
The udder milking is very off-putting.
It really is, and
Unsettling.
it's Lee in the middle like this, and then you got Juan, Will, and Tony going, ooh!
Yeah, it makes your opponents not know what to think, and maybe that's the mind game.
That's probably what they're doing, because they're even bowling next to them. I can feel like the tension that, you know, every time Lee those crazy games, that lane is just on fire. All you hear is noise. But I'm hoping that StarCraft can take it, because I don't want Gorillas to win again.
Yeah.
So,
well, if Kat has this week that she had last week, and if Carson does what he actually does, it'll be a pretty interesting show off.
Yeah. Hey, Carson, I give you permission this week to be on the top 5, okay? So let your sandbagging come into play and bowl how you really bowl. Show us the real you. I give you permission this week. But if you ever go up against us, you better not. You better not, dude. You better just be bowling like 105, bro. All right. So that is it for what's coming up next week. Is there anything you want to add, being the special guest?
Yeah, one more thing. You know, as you know, we have a lot of rookies this season, replacing a lot of outgoing bowlers.
Yep.
One thing to look out for is if you've ever gone to the stat sheets on the BSL site, you can see the sandbag factor.
Sandbag factor.
Yeah.
You guys didn't realize there was a sandbag factor. Now you know.
Yeah, so that tells you how people are doing relative to their handicap. And, you know, the top 4 bowlers who are going to have who have had their handicap drop throughout the season. Tiff, Annie, Carson, and Andrew, who happen to be our top 5 bowlers so far this season. So it'll be interesting. Their handicaps have already dropped, and we'll see if they continue to drop further as they bowl well.
Yeah.
Whatever advantage that they were getting for their teams at the beginning of the season is going to be shifted dramatically now that we're entering the later part of the season. So keep an eye out.
That'll be very interesting. Good facts to know. So guys, your sandbag has caught up. If you guys aren't producing those numbers that you did before, we know. Caught red-handed. There's no penalty for that, but we're just gonna count you. And I guess that's it for our segment. I'd like to thank our special guest from the committee themselves. Hieu, thanks for joining me and signing off. I'll see you guys next week.